Hi guys, the test server for the Winter Update 2024 has just started. In addition to this, yesterday we had a really big, cool teaser around the Charms and Bestiary rework. So I've had a chance to test out the new Charms, check out the values, how they functionally work, and I'm going to review them in this video. Now, before we get into the numbers, I'm just going to do a very quick recap of the teaser yesterday for those of you who haven't yet seen it and caught up with it. So there are 3 brand new charms introduced. Savage Blow, which is an offensive charm as an alternative to Low Blow. There is Fatal Hold, which prevents creatures from fleeing, so it's like a passive etc. Basically stop monsters running away on low health. And Void Inversion, which is a passive charm that negates mana drain, so it helps you with mana drain monsters. In addition to this, each charm can now be upgraded in different levels. There's level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 2 is what is going to correspond to the existing level, so you know, whatever charms you've been using now, they're basically level 2, but basically they've added a a weaker version for level 1 for fewer charm points, and they've added a stronger version for that's much more expensive at level 3. You can also remove all charms now at a cost proportional to your character level. Moving on, another really cool change that they did is they added passive charms, so-called, and you can now apply 2 charms on an individual monster. One of them can be like an offensive or a defensive charm, so basically the charms you'd be using now, you know, your freeze, your inflame, your dodge, stuff like this goes into one bucket. And then there's a second bucket of passive charms, which are Bless, Gut, Scavenge, and the new Fatal Hold and Void Inversion charms, which you can also assign to the monster while already having for example, an offensive charm like Freeze. So this is really, really important because this will really shake up the metagame, because you will now want to have basically 2 charms assigned almost on every monster that you have active. So that really will shake up with what you're going to be using with regards to charms. Anyway, test server stuff, the test server changes. I've just been on the test server for a little while, so I'm going to run you through the numbers for these 3 new charms and what I think about them. So first of all, we're going to take a look at Void Inversion. The total cost per level is Tier 1 costs 480 charm points, Tier 2 costs 800 charm points, Tier 3 costs 2,200 charm points, and it gives you a 25%, 50%, 55% chance to gain mana instead of losing it when under the effect of mana drain. So basically, for a cost of 800 charm points, you get a 50% chance to gain mana instead of losing it, which means that basically mana drain is totally negated from that monster on average, right? Half the time you'll take the mana, the other half the time you'll actually gain the mana. So for 800 charm points, you're negating mana drain from a single monster at a spawn, which I think is amazing for spawns where there is actually mana drain. And it's only 800 points, which is actually not that much. So this is going to be amazing on places where you can use it. So Asuras, you'll want to put it on Midnight Asura. Wherever you Hands of Cursed Fate, on Pumin or in Dark Torturers and Inquisition, you'll probably want to be sticking on Hands of Cursed Fate. Grime Liches on Pumin, Plague Seal, really, really good. There's probably a couple other places, I'm sure you can name them yourself. Basically, and also this is a passive charm, so you can apply that in addition to like an offensive charm, like a Zap or a Freeze. I think this will be a very, very popular charm for places where there is mana drain. Definitely going to be using them. So I think this one's pretty good. Numerically speaking, values-wise, I think it's fine. I think the cost is fine. I haven't properly tested the tier 3 of this one, but I actually think this one might be quite cool because the 55% chance to gain instead of 45% chance to lose, you're actually getting quite a lot more mana. It's actually helping you sustain quite substantially in places like where there's a lot of mana drain. Maybe even tier 3 you might consider here. Don't know. That needs a little bit more testing, but tier 2, in my opinion, here is a no-brainer for places that have mana drain. Moving on, we have Fatal Hold. The way this works is whenever you attack an enemy, so kind of a trigger like any regular charm, damage charm, you have a 25, 50% or 55% chance for the enemy to not flee for the next 30 seconds. So in practice, this works, even the 25% level 1, right? As a paladin, for example, you've got two AoE attacks. It gives you like a 50% chance effectively every turn to apply this. I think in practice, this will mean that whatever monster you have applied with this, even on a tier 1, 25% chance, will basically never flee. There will be the odd case where you entropy gets you and you get really unfortunate and you don't trigger it 10 times in a row, even though you have like 25% chance. But I think it's unlikely, niche case. So I think T1 of this fatal hold is actually going to be sufficient in like 95% of the cases. However, what I'm kind of not so happy about here is the costs of this. First of all, 2,000 for tier 1 I think is a bit steep. I think this is a great charm that lower levels could use. So I really would have liked to see this more accessible for lower level. Lower level EKs, for example, could use it on like Nightmare Scions and Kralos, on Frost Dragons and Okolni, on Worms. Would be really, really good there. But alas, it costs 2,000 points just to unlock this. Which seems a bit too steep for me. I don't like the cost of it. I think it's too expensive. So I would definitely lower T1 cost. Another thing to mention is it costs 9,000 charm points to unlock it at tier 3, which is like, how does this even make sense? Like 50% chance is like more than enough for like any case. So why the hell would you be going from 50 to 55% chance, which is negligible for basically this charm for like any realistic scenario, and paying extra 6,000 charm points for it? I don't get it. So who knows? Anyway, so I think this charm is pretty good. It's really good quality of life. I think it will have its places to use, more about that in a second, but I do think that the numbers are messed up. I would change this something like T1 maybe would give you 10 to 15% and cost like 500 charm points. Then like low level EKs could use it on like Nightmare Scions, Frost Dragons, etc. Would be more accessible. Tier 2 should give you like 30%, and then that can cost a bit more, you know, like 2,000, and then the third tier could give you like 50% and then give that, you know, some high value if you wanted. That would make more sense than the current numbers. Anyway, overall, a decent charm. There will be a few places where it will be amazing, and the one that really comes to my mind is Dark Torturers in Oromund Catacombs for a Paladin. Dark Torturers on that spawn are the only monster that run away, and they run away a lot, and Paladin has no etc. So from now on, it's a passive charm. You can apply freeze plus fatal hold on Dark Torturers in Oromund Catacombs. Nothing will be running away anymore from you. Amazing quality of life. You know, I just want to go hunt that spot because of this. Because always the running away Dark Torturers was super annoying. So that's great that won't be a case. That won't be the case anymore. Other places, like Shockheads, our Rashomon Shockheads, would be pretty useful to apply there. They're, again, the only monster that run away there. Hands of Cursed Fate, but I don't know if you would really want on Hands of Cursed Fate. You might want Void Inversion instead. Remains to be seen, but again, another pretty good monster to apply Fatal Hold on. Basically, this will be really good in places where there's only one monster which runs away, right? So like Dark Torturers and Catacombs, Nightmare Scions and Kralos, basically stuff like that, right? I'm sure there's a few more cases that you can think of. And finally, moving on, we've got the Savage Blow. This gives you 15, 30, 33% extra critical damage at a cost of 1,200, 2,000, and 6,000 charm points total. So this is, you know, I see it as a kind of an alternative to Low Blow, right? It's a element neutral charm. So if you have loads of monsters which are strong to elemental charms, you don't really have anything to apply, this might be pretty good. One place where I think I might apply it is like Rashomon, right? You've got Divine Wrath on the Silencer, and then on the Frazzlemore and Guzzlemore, they're not really weak to any elemental charms, so maybe you'll apply Low Blow and Savage Blow on those two in some combination. I think this is where this charm will shine. However, I actually don't think, numerically speaking, it's that amazing. You might want to use it on like some really low health monsters, kind of like Parry. But for example, I ran a little calculation here if you want to have a look. So for an average 1,000 damage hit with Low Blow, basically 18% crit chance and 50% crit damage. This is on tier 2 Low Blow. You'll deal an average of 1,090 damage. Whereas with Savage Blow, 10% crit chance and 80% extra crit damage, again, tier 2 calculation, you will be dealing an average of 1,080 damage. So even just for a standard T2 Savage Blow versus Low Blow is a little bit stronger. However, in addition to this, what's worth considering is that there are a lot of sources of extra critical hit damage in the game already, and those scale better with extra hit crit chance. So basically they scale better with Low Blow, whereas the Savage Blow does not really improve them any further, right? It's not multiplicative, it's additive. It's not going to make those extra sources of crit damage any stronger. Basically, TLDR, Low Blow, in my opinion, is basically always better than Savage Blow. However, if there are places where there really is no use for elemental charms, Savage Blow may still find its place. And hell, it might still be a little bit rebalanced during the test server and might end up a little bit better. So that's my review and feelings of the new charms from the test server. Overall, I'm pretty happy with those changes. I'm especially happy with the fact of adding this passive charm on creatures at the same time. The only other change I would like to see is maybe changing the buckets a little bit. I don't see why stuff like Adrenaline Burst, Cleanse, needs to be in this active category. I think a few of those from the defensive and offensive category could be moved into the passive. Basically stuff that's not used currently, right? Like Adrenaline Burst, Cleanse, Numb, Vampiric Embrace, Void's Call, Cripple. Yeah, stuff like this, in my opinion, non-damage charms should basically be moved to the passive category, and then there would be a lot of considerations on what to use. But anyway, yeah, those 3 new charms, I actually think, yeah, especially the first 2, I'm really interested in, the Void Inversion and Fatal Hold. I think they're really quite cool and interesting. I definitely think this Void Inversion will be very popular on mana drain spots, and I do think this Fatal Hold will also be popular in a handful of spots where it really makes sense. Like I mentioned, Dark Torturers and Catacombs is a really, really big one, but I'm sure there's a couple that I'm missing out on that probably going to be good at as well. Savage Blow, with the current numbers, I don't think it's going to be a game breaker, game changer. I think it's going to be all right. It's going to be like a weaker alternative to Low Blow, in my opinion. Anyway, that's what I have for you today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll probably be putting out more videos from the test server and update review in the coming days, so stay tuned. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about this charm rework, the new charms. I'm very happy with it. It's been long overdue. It's a great system. Charms and Bestiary is a great system that I really like, always have done, always been a Bestiary hunter, so I'm happy to see some changes to this system. And yeah, that's what I have for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.